Hello my strange and charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Today I'll be sharing with you the second installment in my functional planning series that I kicked off a few weeks ago with my first video on the topic, which was the 5 reasons you're not finding planner peace. In that video, you guys gave me a ton of feedback. You said that you were super excited about this series, you wanted to learn more about functional planning, and that you really felt like when it came to this sense of planner peace or having confidence in your planning system, that the thing that many of you felt like you were missing was that you were not able to actually use your planner functionally, because for one reason or another you weren't sure about how to proceed with functional planning. So today I want to go ahead and build upon that video and really start to share with you all the concept of functional planning and the essential things you really have to understand about a functional planning system. So if you have not yet seen that first video, I will go ahead and link it down below so you can watch that video first and then follow up with this video. But if you have already seen that video, this video is basically going to teach you the essentials of functional planning, and we're going to kind of cover the basics of what a complete planner system needs to be able to include so that you are using your planner and able to functionally plan in your system. As you may remember from that earlier video, one of the reasons I say that people don't find planner peace is that they're not using a complete planner system. So I'm not going to be talking about any specific systems more or less in this video. It's all going to be the sort of general strategy for getting started with functional planning. But if you were someone who thought that you might not be using a complete system, you can use the tips and information that I'm going to share with you about functional planning to then go ahead and find a complete system that kind of checks all the boxes for functional planning. Okay, so I do have my notebook here with a whole bunch of notes on the topic. I did outline everything because I want to stay on topic with this video. I don't want it to become too long, but we do have a good amount of information to get through. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so when it comes to functional planning, which is this idea that you should be using your planner to actually help you get more things done so that you're making progress on your goals and staying organized in your life. The first thing you really have to understand is that under functional planning and in a complete functional planning system, your planner has 3 roles or 3 uses. It has to do 3 things in order to be a functional planner. The first is that you have to use your planner to schedule your events. The second is that your functional planner will track your tasks. And the third role is that your functional planner will help you plan your actions, okay? So scheduling events, tracking tasks, planning your actions. Those are the 3 roles, the 3 uses of a functional planner. And any system that can call itself a functional planning system needs to give you the ability to schedule your events, track your tasks, and plan your actions. So we're going to right now dig deep onto each of those 3 roles or uses so that you understand how to execute in your current planner system, or you can see what sort of gaps that there are in your current planner system that you may be able to supplement or can help you find a new system that is complete so that you can start functionally planning immediately. Okay, so that first use of a functional planner is for scheduling events. And in this topic, we've got 3 types or 3 categories of events that sort of almost blanket all of the events in our lives, or at least everything I could possibly think of that you'd want to put in your planner. The first event category is a reoccurring event, which is something that is a scheduled event that happens on a consistent frequency. So reoccurring events can be things like our paydays, or a day that a bill is due, or our trash days or recycling days, things like that. those are reoccurring events. So things that always happen on a consistent frequency. Now, when it comes to scheduling reoccurring events in your planner, I think that it's really important that you focus on scheduling just those reoccurring events that require your action. Now, if you think about it, in our lives, there's lots of different reoccurring events. Some things that happen and they just happen without us having to get involved, like maybe our bill pay is actually on auto pay, so we don't actually have to do anything. It's something that just sort of reoccurringly happens on a monthly basis. And then sometimes we have situations or events that we would schedule that are reoccurring, where we do actually have to do something. So like on trash or recycling day, right? Maybe your trash day is Wednesday, and every Wednesday you need to make sure you haul your trash to the curb. So that is something that actually is an event that you'd want to have scheduled in your planner so you remember to do it, right? So you remember that you take your trash out so that, when the trash guys come around, they can, take your trash and dispose of it for you. So remember, although there are tons of reoccurring tasks in our lives, focus on putting tasks in your functional planner that require your action. So a good example of something that I think that a lot of people track that I don't track, and that is my payday, okay? So obviously, as an entrepreneur, I have a different sort of payday situation than everyone else, but let's just say that I still had a normal 9-to-5 job and I got a bi-weekly paycheck. I know a lot of people like to track their paydays, but that's something for me that isn't a functional use of space in my planner, because even when I did have a regular 9-to-5 job, I didn't have to do anything in order to get my money sent to me. It was something that automatically happened because my company would automatically direct deposit money into my account. So if this is a situation that you have where you don't have to do anything and the money goes into your account, I don't think that there's a reason for us to track it, because there's no associated task on our part that is linked to that scheduled event, okay? Now, if you are someone who has to go into a work to pick up a paycheck, absolutely, I can see the function there of marking that scheduled recurring event, but focus on only putting the events in your planner that are reoccurring that you need to take action on. And that's gonna save you space, and that's gonna make it much simpler and much more streamlined for you to identify actual events that have an action required of you, okay? So that's what you wanna think about when it comes to reoccurring events. The second category of scheduled events are appointments, right? So these sorts of non-regular, non-routine commitments that we have from time to time in our life, like doctor's visits, or, a dinner with friends, or a meeting at work that isn't something that is a regularly scheduled, conference call, or something that might be on a regular, reoccurring basis. So things like that, those sorts of appointments need to be scheduled in our planner, particularly because they are a use of our time. They are something that we need to remember is coming up. We may need to prepare for whatever that event is. And so it's very important that in a functional planner, you are making sure to actually schedule out those sorts of appointments and block off that time so that you know that you can't be doing anything else when that appointment is going on. And now the third type of event that you'll schedule into a functional planning system are special events, special days like birthdays or holidays or anniversaries. When it comes to tracking these sorts of special days in your planner, I think that it's very important that you actually put in those special events, if there's something that is truly important to you, in your calendar days. Now, I know that a lot of people end up keeping events like birthdays or holidays on a separate page, like on a separate sort of perpetual calendar. But I think that, again, it's very important because it's a scheduled event that you know is coming up. If it's something that's important to you, I think you need to make sure you mark it in your calendar pages and not have to rely on your own memory to go and double check something. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone's birthday on a, perpetual calendar that was not part of my actual planning system. And I forgot that the birthday was coming up, and I forgot to send a card, or I forgot to get a gift. So if it's something that is very important to you to keep track of because you need to, again, take some sort of action, I think it's important that it goes into your calendar pages, your dated calendar pages. It's very important for you to be able to see that time and know it's coming up so that you can make preparations and do any associated actions that have to do with that special event. Okay, so those are the 3 categories of events that you would need to make sure that you are scheduling in your planner. The next thing I want to talk about is that second role of your functional planner, which is task tracking. Now, within a functional planning system, there are 3 ways that I tend to track my tasks. The first of which is on a master task list. So you may be familiar with this master task list. If you're a lister, someone who likes to make lists of things and plans, you want to make a whole full list. I think it's a really great idea to make sure that your planner houses a master task list of all the things you need to get done. Now, the things that'll actually go on your master task list will be non-routine or project-based, unscheduled tasks, okay? So anything that is unscheduled, it's just sort of something you need to get done whenever or within a certain time frame, belongs on a master task list. Now, when it comes to actually executing on a master task list, I think that a lot of times people can fall into the trap of having sort of lists upon lists upon lists of tasks and information. So I highly recommend, my tip for you when it comes to master task lists is to just keep 1 month of tasks listed out together. I think it's kind of gets really disorganized when you have a whole bunch of different lists and you're listing out things that are super far in advance. I think that it's much better if you organize your tasks by month. So for example, in my planning system, in my planner, I have a master monthly task list for every month of the year. So when the month comes, or right before the month, when I'm doing my monthly planning, I can write out all the tasks that I need to do that aren't scheduled for a specific day or time. And then because I keep a monthly master task list for every month of the year in my planner, I'm able to kind of forward plan any of those other tasks onto future lists so that what I'm focusing on in the here and now, in this moment, is just the current month's tasks, because those are the things on my plate right now. So if you're someone who's keeping kind of all these sorts of lists in your planner or in your system, I would highly suggest focusing your master tasks lists to a monthly basis and kind of just keeping 1 list per month. Not breaking it down by category, not breaking it down by any other sort of organization. Have that master task list be for a month at a time. The second task list that I like to keep in my planner are my weekly top 5. Okay, so my weekly top 5 are things that I determine, they're projects that I determine at the start of a week are going to be the things that will have my focus during that week. These will be things that I pull from that master monthly task list and decide, hey, this week, this is what I'm focusing on. These 5 very important projects or tasks. And once I've identified what these 5 projects or tasks are that will have my focus for the week, I will write them down. They will be their own little mini list in somewhere in the beginning of my planner, because I would have chosen them, I would have decided them while I was doing my weekly planning review, or on the first day of the week, I will go ahead and just sort of choose what those topics or those projects are going to be. So that is the second way that I track tasks in a functional planning system. And the third and final way that I track tasks in my functional planning system is with my top 3, my daily top 3. If you've ever seen my Charmed Life Planner inserts, you know that at the start of my planner inserts for every day in my week on 2 pages view, I have a top 3 area, a place where I will put the top 3 items that need to have my focus for that day. Now, unlike my weekly top 5, which is generally top 5 projects I'm going to be working on, my top 3 list is always 3 individual actions. So I do not put projects in my top 3. And the reason for that is that you're using your top 3 to prioritize your tasks. Okay, we've had our master task list where we talk about all the things we need to get done in the month. And we've talked about the weekly top 5, which are the projects we're going to be focusing on. But when it comes to our top 3, we are prioritizing even further by saying the 3 most important individual actions we need to take for that given day. So we keep these to individual actions, not projects, because what I find that happens when you put a project on your top 3 is that a project which may have many steps in it, it's very possible that you might not be able to complete that project in the day. And it may end up throwing off your entire plans for the day or for the week if that project doesn't get done. So I find that by focusing on 3 key individual items or actions that we need to do, it keeps ourselves crystal clear and very accountable to make sure that we are functionally planning. We are getting things done that will move us forward. So those are the 3 ways that you will track tasks in a functional planning system that go from broad priority to very specific priority items. Okay, and then finally, the 3rd role of a functional planning system is for you to be able to make your plan of action, which is actually your daily schedule and your use of your time on a day-to-day basis. So included on this daily schedule will be things like your top 3 list, like your scheduled events that you've already kind of marked into your planner. But going one step further, that plan of action, that daily schedule will be a more complete look at the tasks and items you need to complete within a given day. Now for me, although I complete a weekly review where I will go through my planner and sort of identify my top 5 for the week and just kind of make sure that I'm keeping on track with my tasks and moving over any unfinished or uncompleted tasks to my new week, I will create my daily plan of action in the morning. I do that every day individually. And I think it's very important that you take it one day at a time with your plan of action, because I find that for me, even though I may block off time throughout my week for certain important tasks, and I have a general schedule for the way that I work over a given week, I think it's important to take it one day at a time with your planner and your plan of action, because a lot of times unexpected things can happen in our lives. We can forget to do things, or new items can be added to our to-do list. And I think it's really hard to plan in advance exactly how you're going to be scheduling out a day and all the tasks that are going to be completed in that one single day. So make sure that you're focusing on your plan of action on a daily basis. Just spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the morning working on that daily schedule, where you're going to be setting your top 3, reviewing your schedule, and then filling in other additional tasks into the open blocks of time that you have in your calendar. Now, when it comes to creating your plan of action, I find that there are 2 ways to go about creating that daily schedule. And the way that you go about making your plan of action may be one of these 2 ways, or it can be both of these ways. Now, the first way that you can go about creating that daily schedule is through a timetable, by actually managing out the tasks on your list and assigning them to specific times throughout the day. Now, for some people who have a lot of things to manage within a day, this is an excellent way to functionally plan out your daily schedule, right? To actually say that at 8 o'clock I'm going to be doing this task, and at noon I'll be doing this, and at 3 p.m. I'll be doing this. By actually mapping out your complete day, managing your day on the basis of time. That's a completely legitimate way to be going about functionally planning out your plan of action for the day. Now, the second way that you can create that plan of action for the day is by prioritization, which is a method that I tend to use more often than the timetable example, but you can use either one of these, or you can switch it up and decide which method you're going to use based on the events and tasks that you have for a specific day. Now, when it comes to using prioritization to manage your daily schedule, what I tend to do is I identify my top 3. I look at my schedule and identify any blocks of time where I have things already sort of carved out. And then I create a wish list of items that I would like to get done during that day, and I rank them by priority. Now, I tend to like prioritization as opposed to creating a daily schedule, because when you prioritize, in my opinion, if there are things you don't get done, and of course there are always going to be things you don't get done, at least you've been able to work on things that are the most important first. As opposed to when you create a schedule, sometimes what happens with a schedule is if you make your schedule too full and something happens and a certain task takes too long, or you get interrupted, it really kind of throws off the schedule. But in some circumstances and for some people, having that schedule is completely necessary. So when it comes to creating your plan of action and creating your daily schedule, either of those methods will help you to functionally plan your day in your planner. So keep both of them in mind and really be open-minded and flexible as to which strategy is going to actually help you be most effective in any given day. Okay, so that's it. Those are the essentials of functional planning and the 3 roles that a functional planning system must have in order to be complete. Now I can't wait for you guys to actually take this information and start functionally planning in your own system. I really believe that when you keep those 3 roles of a functional planner in mind, that it is for scheduling events, tracking your tasks, and planning your actions, when you focus on those 3 roles, that functional planning naturally follows, and that you're going to be getting more done with your time and be getting more satisfaction from your planner because you have a grip on everything that's happening in your life. I really hope that this video has been helpful to introducing you to this topic of functional planning. And although we did cover a couple of different areas, if you have any other questions, please make sure to leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video and you felt like you learned a good amount about the basics of functional planning, or you're still super excited about this series and seeing what else I have in store for you, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and feel free to share it anywhere online where you feel like someone might need this information. I feel like for a lot of us in the planner community, this idea of being productive and using our planners to really maximize our time and our efficiency is something that a lot of people really strive for, but I think that most of us still are getting bogged down with a lot of just the day-to-day junk that can kind of be thrown at us. So feel free to share this if you feel like this content will be helpful to someone you know. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye!